Hello everybody, my name is Phil and welcome to Miranda Detailing, where we bring you satisfying detailing videos. If you're interested in tips, reviews, and more, then consider subscribing. Click that bell, that way you don't miss stuff. So in today's brief video, I just wanted to answer some questions about the air compressor that we use. So as you have seen with our setup, I can't fit a large air compressor in that Ford Expedition. In fact, we're probably going to be selling that and upgrading to a full-size van, which I had in the past and I loved because I could fit everything inside of that van with no problem at all. This poor Ford Expedition we've had for about 5 years now, and it's showing its age, and we can't fit everything in there like we want to. So I had to buy that extension off of the hitch to put the 5,000 watt generator, the air compressor, and then the air compressor line, as well as a small gas tank for fuel. So the air compressor is one that I bought at Harbor Freight. It is the Central Pneumatic, I believe. But it's 150 PSI, it's a 6-gallon, and it actually does really well. I used to buy the other smaller compressors, like the little 3-gallon ones, the little pancake ones. They just couldn't cut it, because I needed something with at least a larger airflow and for it to be able to keep up as well. Now, this compressor does a great job. At 150 PSI, it really puts out a lot of pressure, and you can lower it so that you have more in the air tank. Of course, you really only need 100 PSI. So I usually will set it around that so you don't have that blast of 150 PSI, which you really don't need that with cleaning the interior of a vehicle, because it'll blow everything in your face. I love this air compressor because of its size, its versatility, and I connect it to a 50-foot hose reel as well, which I need to upgrade that because the spring sprung in it and it doesn't retract like it used to. But again, it's served me well. I just retract it by hand, and I have that nice little blower gun that you see. And I have a link to that down below. So check out that blower gun. It also has other accessories and tips that you can switch out on it. As you see on the top of it, I dropped it a few times, but you're able to regulate the pressure on the top also, and it also has a separate air inlet on the top. So not really sure how you would utilize that, but it's there if you want to use that. With the air compressor, I use that for the interior of the vehicle mostly. I'll show you in a couple of videos if you want to check out the video up here, or I'll show you a clip also of how we use that air compressor for the inside. So as we're vacuuming, we're dusting, I'm going to use the APC and the brushes to agitate and to clean areas and to wipe everything down. And then the air compressor will be able to blow out all those cracks and crevices and dry things quickly. And that way you're not missing anything with the brush. If the brush couldn't get in there, the air compressor is going to get in there and blow out all those areas, especially in the center console and the dash, the steering wheel area also, the little emblems, the little buttons. Sometimes it's difficult to get the brush in there to clean it. I also use it to blow out under the seats. For me, for us, we don't remove seats. Really, it's kind of a liability issue, and it's also a timing issue because it takes a lot of time to remove the seats, to make sure to unplug things. That way you're not damaging anything. And then you have to, of course, put it back, plug everything up, make sure everything works. That can just consume a lot of time. I leave that for the detail shops. If they want to do that, they're going to charge more to be able to do that. But for our customers, we really don't have anyone that wants to have their seats removed. It's kind of an inconvenience. If the customer wants to remove the seats themselves, great. Then we'll go in there, clean everything, and we leave it up to them to put the seats back. Because again, it's just a liability, and you don't want to strip any of those bolts. You don't want to ruin anything with connections. For me, it's just easier not to do that. So the air compressor, that's where that is going to shine, because you can get pretty much everywhere under the seats with the air compressor and with those long vacuum nozzles also. So use that air compressor and those long brushes, that Casabella grout brush, I believe it's called. I love that brush. You see it in all of my videos, and it's an awesome tool to use. Links to that are down below because I find that tool to be essential when cleaning around all those bolts under the seats, in between the seats, and the air compressor combined with those three tools. The air compressor, that grout brush, that long-handled grout brush, and then your long nozzle, the vacuum nozzle, that can get to everything that you need to get to. That way you're getting underneath the seats, you're getting in the center console area, you can get to everywhere to make sure that you're cleaning the vehicle perfectly as best as you can. I shouldn't say perfectly, but as best as you can. One more thing I do want to mention, if you use a Tornador, unfortunately, this air compressor is not going to cut it. You need something with 10 gallons or more, and you also want to take a close look at how much air is filling up in the tank. Now, this Central Pneumatic 6-gallon air compressor, the specs on it, you're looking at 1.4 horsepower, and it is 150 psi, which is really nice. That's pretty high for a small air compressor like that. But now what you want to look for is the CFM. That is the cubic feet per minute. That is how fast it is compressing the air, how fast it's filling up. So with this one, I believe it is 2.5 CFM. So 2.5 at 90 psi. That's how quickly it's filling up. Now, if you want to run the Tornador, you are going to need, for one, a higher volume tank, so 10 and up, preferably 20 gallon is really best. If your vehicle, if your detailing truck, or if your shop can have that, that's perfect. But if you're a mobile guy and you have a van, then consider getting the larger compressor to put in there if you have the space. That's something that I would really love to get in the future, is a larger air compressor. That way I can use tools like the Tornador and other tools that connect to the air compressor to make things easier. Now, for instance, they sell the Central Pneumatic 21 gallon, which is 2.5 horsepower, so of course a bigger motor on it, and the pressure is 125 psi. That's its max. That's not a big deal. You're not going to be wanting to use it at that high pressure anyway. The fill rate on it, the CFM, is 4.7 at 90 psi. So if you're using it at around 100 psi or so for either the Tornador or for any of your air tools, that's plenty. That fill rate is almost double, and it's going to be perfect to be able to keep up with any of your air tools. So that's probably the size that you want for a Tornador, or if you're using the Tornador shop vacuum attachment, that's what you want, is that high volume and high cubic feet per minute rate also, so that it's filling up faster, because you're going to use a lot of air when you're using those Tornador tools, so you want it to be able to keep up with it. So the 6-gallon one that we use is great. Now, another interesting alternative, if you don't want to use the Tornador, if you can't, I had in the past this tool. It's basically half a Tornador. It's just the nozzle with that rotating or oscillating tip of the Tornador. You're not going to have any chemical input, but it's just the air compressor gun nozzle itself. I just broke mine a while ago and I just never replaced it. I got that other air tool nozzle that I like, but I'm probably going to purchase that little Tornador nozzle bit that goes onto the gun. That way I can use it kind of like a Tornador. So you can just spray the chemical on your carpets or upholstery or whatever and use that as the drying tool. It's not exactly the same because you don't have the power of the chemical coming out and the oscillating of the air and that little thingamajiggy in there, but it does a good job, and the 6-gallon air compressor can keep up with it because you're not sucking the fluid out of that Tornador gun, which takes a lot of air and movement to be able to do that. So consider getting that one also. I'll have links to that down below to check out that tool. And when I do get it, you'll see some videos of how we use that as well. And I'll probably make a review video on that tool also. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I answered some of your questions. If you have more, put them down below. I'll try my best to answer those also. And feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. I'll put those links right here as well. Check them out, as well as my email. And you can email me any questions that you have also. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Give it a thumbs up, like it, and share it with others who may enjoy it as well. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell. That way you get notifications and you don't miss stuff. So you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.